All right, gentlemen, I hope everybody is having a good day with this one right here. We are on the Bulwark, and we are going to be talking about our definitive build guide 8.0 for the Power Sword. So we're going to go into this build right here more deeply and take a look at the overall perks we're taking and the Power Sword itself, but as well as we're going to talk about some other very good class builds that you can tie to the Power Sword, and as well as can take advantage in some parts of the game even better than this build right here. But this is one of your newer builds. It is going to take advantage of your 30-second armor every 30 seconds instead of 40 seconds now. And then on top of that, this does give you the best knockback resistance in the entire game with 2 different perks, and we'll take a look at that as well. So first up, let's go right into our main build right here with our overall class perks. When we're going into core perks here, and the main thing is we're trying to keep our armor up so we can keep armored advance up, which is this right here. Armor gives you knockback resistance. And then when your armor does ever go down, it is as simple as a shield bash to have knockback resistance right back up. And a shield bash that doesn't even have to hit the target. Any shield bash is going to give you the perk will proc. So what we're starting here with the core, we got Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you're going to take 25% less health damage. You have Scrambled Targeting. So these two, when they go together, you're going to have 50% less range damage to your health. And then we are taking Armor Reinforcement, which is going to give non-finisher gun strikes 1 armor segment. So obviously this is a new build we're trying out. We're trying to pair up as much armor as we can. So Steel Within is usually, I would say, the top tier choice if you are trying to push very, very high waves in Siege. Other than that, you know, Armor Reinforcement is very good, but Steel Within is very powerful for 30% less health damage reduction. So get that out of the way. But with the build, we're focusing on armor right here. So we have, just like with the Heavy, how we focused on armor kind of with him, we're going to do the same thing with the Bulwark here. We have Purity of Purpose, where the banner deals damage over time. We have our Invigorating Icon, Merciless Resolve, and then we have an Armored Advance. So Armored Advance and Merciless Resolve, this is the strongest knockback resistance in the entire game, and it is the easiest to put onto your class. So you're going to have armor, you're just going to have knockback resistance when you have armor, and then anytime you use armor, like I said, just work in a shield bash. So right when you hear your armor go down, honestly, you're going to want to work in a shield bash as soon as possible, and you will have knockback resistance nearly the entire time, especially in this build, because you should be getting a lot of armor back. But you're still, no matter how good you are, you're still going to go back into your red health, and that's where Merciless Resolve is going to be very, very helpful. And just, you know, both of these perks right here, I think they're, this one is okay. I think this one is good, but it's situational, and this one is going to help your class overall much better. So I definitely suggest Merciless Resolve for that knockback resistance. The damage, you know, it is what it is. It's just an added caveat. It's very nice to have it on there, but you're basically taking this for the, you know, do not lose control. And when we are just taking a closer look at, you know, one of the main changes here is Advanced Conditioning up to Focus Restoration. So obviously with this right here, you are going to notice this. Advanced Conditioning is a very strong perk, and you're going to notice it anytime that you do go into contested health. Your health is going to fade much, much faster than you are normally used to. But this is still a very fun build to run, and I do suggest anybody who does run the Power Sword try this out, and perhaps this may make you better than your contested health perk. You know what I'm saying? It's going to kind of depend on your skill level. I would say higher skill level is going to benefit more from Focus Restoration, and if you aren't quite as skilled, Advanced Conditioning is going to come into play more. But either way, you are going to be able to refill your health basically at any time that you want. So that is why having the extra armor segments is also a very good thing when it comes to the Bulwark himself. So that is it when it's coming to our class build for our, you know, basically mostly our armor gains and things like that. But when we're taking a closer look at our Power Sword, I do find this the best way to spec it out. You're not going to really want to go into any of this contested health gain, because you are no longer going to have 50% slower contested health, so none of that will help you anymore. So this is definitely the way that I like to spec mine out, and it feels very powerful. The main thing about the Power Sword, guys, is the Power Rake and the Power Whirl are your 2 strongest assets, and I would say it's easier to work in the Power Rake, but Power Whirls can become very deadly as well, so you're going to want to really tie in both of those attacks. Those have seen the biggest updates in patch 7, and I don't think they got anything in patch 8, but just towards the end of patch 7, Power Rakes and Power Whirl both got very, very strong buffs overall. So The sword, I think the power sword is in a great spot, and I have it sitting as I would say the best fencing weapon. Power fist possibly could beat it out. So, you know, I still have it ranked very high in the game overall. I would say if it's second to anything in a fencing weapon, it's going to be the power fist. Either that or it's second to none. So it's a very, very strong weapon overall in the game. And then you are going to want your plasma pistol. This does help a lot with contested health regain. And just getting the, you just got to get a charge shot off is the main thing. So you really got to be on time and start charging your gun very early. Especially, the gun still charges pretty fast, guys. And we do have the max amount of ammo on it. We have a lot of blast radius. And that's really the main things you're looking for in both modes, honestly. If you're running absolute in operations, you're going to want the blast radius because there's going to be a ton of targets and you can take advantage of hitting just a lot of major enemies at one time. Okay, and switching over to some of our other class builds here. All these are going to be very good. You're going to kind of see by the tiers just what I find them to be the best in. And then you're going to have your damage build on top, which is going to take advantage of your AoE damages and different things like that. And then you have your max defense, which then you're going to tie in your 30% extra damage reduction at 50% health instead of your armor. And that is a very powerful one. And then you're going to take either your contested health gain or, you know, whatever team perk you think is going to be best. And then the last one up here, this is one of my favorite ones. Honestly, I like this hybrid build. It gives you some AoE damage. And then as well, it gives you very, very good health damage reduction when you do need it. So I do like this build a lot. This is one of my favorite ones to run. But honestly, all these builds feel really nice, and I think they all have their, you know, kind of have their proper place overall in the game. So, Bulwark, Power Sword, it is probably now his second best weapon if you are trying to push the hardest content in the game. The Power Fist is going to beat it out in most situations, guys, because of the massive amount of damage that those charge hits can do, and a lot of their, you can get a lot of damage reduction off of those charge fists onto your class when you're using it in that way. So, you know, it just supports kind of what Siege is about in the higher, you know, in the higher waves. But honestly, when it comes to operations, I would pit them pretty close to each other. I do think the Power Sword still is a very, very powerful weapon. And all of these builds are going to be a lot of fun to run for sure. And just tailor it to whatever playstyle you think, or whatever playstyle you're running and whatever you think is going to help best. And you can kind of mix and match here and there, go through what we talked about, and then really just create the perfect build for yourself. So overall, had a ton of fun running all of these builds. And next up, we're going to probably go into our Thunderhammer with the Bulwark. Okay, and let's quickly go through our prestige perks here. So we're going to be taking Overcharge, we're going to have Masterful Defense, we are going to have Auxiliary Reload, and we are going to have Powerful Shot. So Auxiliary Reload and Powerful Shot, both of these can be swapped out at times, but I think this is overall your strongest. You're going to want your ammo back. It gives you a good amount of ammo when you are running the plasma pistol, and then as well as Powerful Shot gives you that extra 20% damage added onto your charge shots, which is very, very strong throughout and does help with bosses and things like that. So if you're ever changing these two up, the only ones that I really would see that you would change into, and that would be maybe if you weren't running your banner gives you contested health, you would possibly take Resilience for your extra 40% on med stims. And yeah, that one is probably one of the better ones. You know, Standard Bearer isn't bad for the 2 seconds of invulnerability sometimes when you tie this to the Power Fist, because that's just like a free charge shot when you plant it, but it's nothing like that great. And then this actually sounds really good, but odds like it would help your teammates out, but Emboldened Stand is really not going to help you out at all, because your banner is just going to keep refilling your armor, and you already have Armored Advance, so you're already going to have your knockback resistance. So I do highly recommend if you haven't tried this combination out. You know, I'm sure most people have by now, but I do think this is one of the best ones to run right here.
Ready to deploy. Another scene of atrocity. Why the main enemy break? Annihilate that neural. For the Emperor! superior threats, not the inferior rabble. Let the stronger threats overwhelm us! High-priority targets remain active. Iron Halo online. Enemy activity has disrupted the launches and tunnel systems. You must reestablish them. The disruption will be brief. Tyranny cannot destroy. Machine spirit reawakened. Fortress systems back online. Give us the queen, This galaxy is the floor.